Hello and welcome to episode 36 of the Indie String podcast. I'm your host, Kay, also known as Indie String on Ravelry, Instagram, and Facebook. So come over and add me anywhere you guys like. I'm starting to join the social media reign. I'm not very good at it, but I really am trying. And so I haven't seen you guys for a while, so what's been going on? A quick recap, and then we'll get into what I've been knitting. Basically, I have traveled a lot this summer, and I am now back at my home, with my husband and my daughter. We're all here, and the two dogs, and we're ready to start, what happens in the fall, which is my daughter's going to kindergarten next week, which is scary and wonderful at the same time. And I'm starting some new things as well, so we'll get into that about rants and raves, but I would say in the last, I've traveled 9 weeks this summer. I've been gone a lot. I've been starting the business and some other things, and so we'll talk about all of that and some funny stories later on. But that's why the show has been a little inconsistent. A lot of times I wasn't home to record, or I wasn't somewhere where I could record, and yeah, I apologize. I had a great summer. It was wonderful. I love traveling. I love seeing my family and friends and going to new places with my husband and some other things that we were able to do. But I am looking forward to being home for a while and staying put, being able to be with all my stuff, which sounds so silly, but I really missed my stash. I really missed being able to peruse and pick out projects and some other things. When you're on the road so much, I had what I had. And I tried to really pack the bare essentials most of the time, and didn't always work out for me. And so we'll talk about that and what I've been knitting. So what have I been knitting? When we went to Michigan, every year we send my daughter for the summer to Michigan. And we drop her off, she stays there for a few weeks, and then we go and pick her up and we come back. Typically we fly, but this summer my husband wanted to drive. I don't know why, but he really wanted to drive. So we drove. It ended up being cheaper, so I mean that worked out really well and everything. So we drove across the country. So with a 5-year-old and 2 dogs and my husband and me in a little car for 5 days. So what did I knit, right? You would think that I got like just a ton done, right? Totally not. So I was knitting the Vesper cowl out of Swan's Island fingering, and this is what I've got done. So, see, I'm sorry, it's been in the project bag. It's all wrinkly, grimy. So you're supposed to have 6 medallions done to stop the pattern. And so a medallion is basically this section here, how it goes out and then comes back in. That's one medallion. So I have 3 medallions done. So this is taking forever, and I do love it, but I have some issues with it that are kind of sad. First is that it's on size 2 needles. So even when I knit for an hour, it doesn't look like I got a lot done. So it is very slow going. It's on very little needles. And then the problem that I keep on having, which you can't see when it's back here, and I can't decide that if it's just fine and I should keep this cowl, keep on going and do it for me, or I should frog it, is right there. Home, focus camera. So I don't know if you can see it, but see how these are cabled? And then right there, those 2 stitches are supposed to be twisted, and they're not. It's showing me, sorry. And so that keeps on happening to me, where I'm going along and I'm twisting these stitches, and then for some reason I do twist them, but it's like when I purl back, because they're just a 1x1 cross, I uncross them when I purl them. So it's happened about once a time per medallion, and you can't really tell that when it's farther away, but when I look at it, I definitely see them, and it's bothering me. So you know when you're knitting along and you see an error and it bothers you? Like there's 2 choices, right? I can drop down and fix it, but for some reason I'm scared if I drop down that I'm going to ruin it. I'm really not a great cable fixer. It's only a 1x1. I should be able to do it. And I might try it on this one because it's only like 4 rows down, so it's really not that much if I do lose it and have to rip it out. But the second thing is that I was in the car when I was knitting this, right? And so I'm knitting along and I see it. And it was like the choice of, do I try to rip down and not and fix it and knit back? I could have ripped out, or I could have kept on going. And most of the trip I just decided to keep on going because I absolutely had no other knitting with me. So because of that, I have several of those areas and it's really bothering me. So yeah, that's that. Fun news. I think I have 3 or 4 of them. Like this one, there's one where I skipped twice. And it just, I don't know. I don't know what to do. Should I rip it out? I've tried 2 things. This is the second thing with this yarn, and the yarn is lovely, but I can't seem to get it. I thought this pattern would be more mindless than it is for me, but it's not. For some reason, I just really want to knit stockinette right now. That's what typically happens to me in the summer. Most of the time, actually, I really enjoy stockinette. I know a lot of people don't really like it, but that's why I like knitting sweaters, and especially sweaters in the round, because it's just mindless stockinette, and I really enjoy that. So I've been trying to knit a lot more technical patterns lately and patterns that challenge me more, but it hasn't been working out. And so this has kind of been in timeout. And because it's been in timeout, I have another project on the needles that I started 2 nights ago. And I'm actually going to go grab it because it's downstairs. So give me 1 second. Thanks for waiting. Only second for you was like 10 minutes for me. So I wanted to start something that was kind of mindless. And I've been totally indecisive about my knitting. I can't decide what I should knit or what I shouldn't, basically. And pairing stuff with my stash has been awful. So I thought I would go online and see if anything struck my fancy. Because I had gift cards for my birthday and nothing. Like, seriously, nothing is just like striking a chord with me. Other than the stuff that I'm dyeing, like, I'm not in love with anything. And so I have been swatching with my yarn, and I'll show you that stuff later. So I took some hand spun that I spun ages ago. I would say maybe 2 years. And this is Becoming Art, and it's merino cashmere, and it's her New Moon colorway. And I spun 8 ounces into a fingering, and I think I have about 900 yards. And so I have 2 skeins of this. This is one skein that I wound up. And then I cast on the Patagonia shawl by Stephen West. And this is all I have right now. So just a little bit. I started on size 2s, but it was incredibly tight. So I ripped back and I'm on size 4s now. And I do really like it. It's pretty mindless and happy. This will probably be a gift for someone. And a funny story about gifts. So my friend came over when I got back from Michigan because she hadn't seen me in several weeks. She's got a little boy that plays with my daughter, and they call themselves brother and sister because they're together so much. And they came over to play, and so we were sitting there, and I was showing her my knitting that I had done that she hadn't seen yet. And she's not a knitter or a crafter of any kind, but she's a great person, and I love her to death. But I know she looks at me when I knit, and she thinks, "You're a little odd." She doesn't really understand it. She doesn't understand my fascination or my passion. But give it to her. I mean, you know, I get it from her standpoint. It's weird. Okay? So I'm showing her some stuff, and I've never knitted anything for her. I usually knit for my family and for presents and Christmas and some other things. And she doesn't craft, so she doesn't really get it, I guess. I don't know how much she would appreciate a finished object. And so we're sitting there, and she's looking at him. She goes, "Wow, that's just amazing. I can't believe you knit that." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, you know, that's knitting." And she says, "I would have never believed that you could have actually made something like that." And I'm like, "Well, that's a really good compliment, right? I mean, totally awesome. Thank you so much. That's really nice." Then she says, "Well, you know, I would have made fun of somebody." you know, if I saw somebody knitting or I knew somebody that was knitting, I would have made fun of them. But you've changed my mind about it. And I'm thinking, okay, you started off good, right? You started off with a great compliment. And then it kind of went downhill in my mind. So you would have made fun of me? How old are you? Dude, you're 35, 36 years old, and you're going to make fun of me because I'm knitting? Because I have a hobby? So what are you going to say? Oh man, that guy over there, dude, he's a wood carver. Totally gay. I mean, I was so frustrated. Like, I'm just so lame. And so is everybody else that has a craft. And I was just like, well, that's kind of small-minded, right? Well, first of all, we should be, like, past making fun of people. Come on. How old are you? We're not in junior high anymore or elementary school. Weren't you past making fun of people when you were in high school? I guess that was only me. And what is your deal that you would have made fun of somebody for having a hobby? I just didn't get it. I said nothing because all I could think of were bad things coming out of my mouth. And you know what the golden rule is? If you don't have anything nice to say, you shouldn't say anything at all. But it was just crazy because I talk about going to conventions, and I've never gone to a retreat or anything, and I would really like to go to one and some other things. And I don't think my husband gets it. And he goes, well, I don't understand why you want to go so bad. And I said, well, I kind of want to be with like my people who kind of like get it, like understand. I said, you, even in the beginning, he was like, I don't want you to knit. I don't want you to spin. I don't want you to do this. And now he's come full circle. He's like, it's awesome. I love it. You can make stuff that no one else could make. And you have these great gifts and everything, and totally supportive, right? But I'm like, I want to be with the people who understand, who don't have to explain it for it, that just kind of get it, get that I like it, get that I love it, get that I need to do it, right? I don't know. I just miss my people. I'm surrounded by people who don't get it. But other than having total knitting indecision, which has been awful, like it's totally sweater pattern season, and fall's coming in the U.S. Where I reside, and so there's a lot of nice summer patterns that are either finishing up that are nice light fingering weight for those of you who are entering into summer. And for us, well, spring and summer, and for us, fall and winter, there's a lot of really nice winter patterns coming out, and I kind of want to knit everything. But before I cast on another sweater, I have to finish my sweater that's been on the needles for like a year. So that is, sorry, my computer just popped something up. That is really where I'm at now. I think I'm probably going to knit on the Patagonia, and I'm going to pull out my sweater. I only have one front to finish. I have everything else done, and try to start working on that steadily so I can cast on a sweater for the season. Which brings me to what our next cal is. So our next cal, which will run September and October until October 31st, will be Winter is Coming. So you're going to have to knit something for winter, whether it be a hat, a pair of gloves, something to keep you warm and toasty in the cold, cold winter. The prediction this year for winter in the U.S., per the Farmer's Almanac, I believe, is that it should be worse than the year before. And if anybody remembers last year, the polar vortexes kind of happened several times. And so I'm really, really hoping that it's not that bad. I live in a place where I don't get snow, and last year I got a few feet. And for anybody who lives somewhere that you don't get snow, a few feet is crippling. When I lived in Michigan, a few feet was no problem. I would have went to school, but here you can't drive. They don't have plows. They don't have things to gravel or salt the roads. And so really for a week, the entire town was empty. No one left their houses. School was canceled. No one went to work. It was pretty detrimental. And so I'm really hoping that this year isn't that bad, so I can hopefully get everything done and not be stuck in my house for a week. But we'll see. You never know with weather. But I really am excited about winter, excited about winter knits, knitting hats and gloves and cowls, scarves, sweaters. And so I'm really hoping that it infuses my knitting a little bit. I've been a little lackadaisy this summer, and for probably about at least the last month to 6 weeks, I haven't been knitting as much as I usually do. So winter is coming, and hopefully you guys will all join me. We'll have probably 2 giveaways for this. Cal will have a skein of yarn, which I need to pick out, and then we'll have a $10 pattern. As always, you need to be a member of the Ravelry group. I'll run it on the Ravelry group. You'll have to post an FO in the FO thread once you're done. You can enter as many times as you'd like to win. Or as many finished objects that you have. Just put if you're knitting, I don't know, a tank top, just say how it's winter for you, or say that it's summer where you are, so for you this really is this time of year, or something. I'm not very picky. Every fiber art is included. Felting, weaving, spinning, crochet, knitting, everything. So if you're doing something with fiber or yarn of some type, then go ahead and enter it into the FO thread. So that's about it on that note. And then let's go to what I've gotten in the mail, some enabling. So I got my Hello Yarn Club shipment, and it's Blue Face Luster, or BFL, and it's called Headbanger. I actually didn't take it out this time. And I can if you guys would like me to. I guess I should. You can't really see it through the packaging. So Hello Yarn, it's a club I'm in. This is my last installment where I get 2 bumps. I actually went down to 1 bump because I was away from my wheel for so long, and I haven't spun anything that it's I kind of feel bad, like gluttony. But this is the fiber. Isn't it beautiful with the golds and yellows and blues? And you can hear my daughter coming, I think. I bribed her to stay in the other room. I know, right? Not my proudest mom moment, but come on. I need to get this done. So she's watching iPad and eating goldfish and laying on my bed, which she never gets to do. She is very happy. So that's basically all I've got in the mail. I'm going to really try to knit from stash or knit with Indie String Yarn. So what has been going on knitting with Indie String Yarn? There's 2 things we're going to talk about this week on Indie String before I do rants and raves. So if you don't want to hear about it, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. But if you do, I went ahead and I knit another swatch this week to show you guys. So this is out of the Superior Worsted, the only base that I have, which is a Falkland yarn. And I went ahead and knit a cable on it. So this is a 3-ply construction, and really cables pop in it beautifully. It's a very round yarn, a nice light yarn, and so really what you get is a ton of great stitch definition because of the 3-ply structure, but as well as that kind of 3-dimensional look with the cable. I'm really happy with it. I would really, I'm looking forward to knitting a cabled sweater in it. It should hold up wonderfully. Again, kind of beating this up, beating the ball up. I had it on the floor rolling around when I knit it. I've had this in my purse and some other places, and it has no pills yet. Because of the longer staple that is in this Falkland yarn, which does consist of some Cordale, it really, really is holding up beautifully to wear and tear. And so that's really nice. And I love cables in it. I love that pop that we're getting from the 3-ply structure. And so all of this is, well, that was not a good sentence. This is a 4x4 cable, and it is an 8-row repeat, and it's flanked on both sides by 2 purl stitches so that the cable can be more defined, which is pretty normal for cables themselves. So I think it's lovely and beautiful. I'm very excited with how it came out, And so another swatch. And this was on size 8 needles. So now, as promised, I promised you guys that I would record my studio that all the dyeing takes place in. And so a few notes about this. The studio is my dad's old office, and so it has been remodeled. It is a place that I've known for years and years and years, and it's kind of exciting. I used to work with my dad back in the day when I was in high school. And so for me, this is kind of a coming home a little bit. So the office has been remodeled and to become the dye studio, as you will see. And I recorded this on my phone. So there's a few things about it. If you're motion sickness or you don't like a wobbly camera, I apologize. The video is about 4.5 minutes. And the sound quality, I have no idea if it's good or not. It sounds okay on my computer, but as we all know from my multiple sound quality issues that it might not be great. I do apologize. This will be the only, I hope, video with my phone that we have. And enjoy it, and I'll see you back for rants and raves. Thanks so much. Maybe not. Hold on one more second. Hi, you guys. It's Kayla here. I'm just showing you the dye studio of Indie String. So this is what you look at when you walk into the room. This cabinet here was built by my dad's best friend, and that is where all the dye is. So let me open it up in the inside. Show you here. It's got a little latch. So that's some of my dye. And this is where I house it. And it's got a nice latch so nobody can get into it accidentally. So this down here is where I soak the yarn before I dye it. So I put it in there overnight. That's the bathroom. This is the coffee station, which is uber important for me. So I always have coffee on hand. Sorry about the changing lighting. This is the stove I use. On either side here and here I have always have cut up pieces of towel, and it's where I put like my stir or my dye when I'm dyeing so I don't get it on the counter. And then we're pretty normal. That's the sink. That out there is my daughter's playhouse and her sandbox. So when she's here, I can look out the window and watch her. And then a long counter. That's my coffee from today. Wonderful. A small refrigerator. And then that's a yarn petit. That's for when I get cones and I wind them into hanks. This is two recliners. This is where I keep the yarn, and they have different categories. And then I have a TV. Those are some old pictures from our house that my mom's going through. This is a couch. And then there's this piece, which my dad's friend also built. Eventually, all my mixed dye will be at the bottom of here. And up there is, right there is where what I tie the skeins with so they don't tangle in the dye bath. But that's one piece of furniture, and man is it heavy when we moved it in here. It's an emergency exit. And then this is my moving cart. So it is on huge casters. The flip side looks exactly like this, and this is where I keep all my my pots, and then when I dye I actually move this all across the room, so I have a surface right behind me that I dye. Right now it's set up to reskein, and I did a little bit of reskeining. When I'm not reskeining or I'm not taking from cones, these basically move across the room, and then I have that whole surface. So I have a non-motorized skeiner, which is this one that I'm showing you. Then that is to feed the yarn through, so I can reskein 3 skeins at once, and then I have a motorized skeiner. So the motorized skeiner is what I use to take it from cone into skein. and I also use it to drive rescanning. So I have a row counter. Let's see if I can get up to it. It is a rotation counter, a meter counter, or a yard counter. And I can program it, and then I press go, and it rescans automatically. It takes it from cones into the size hanks that I want automatically. So that's about it. It's a small area. And what I'll do is I'll move back and I'll show you the entire area. It's just a nice small area. There is one more back room that I'm not going to show you because right now it's still under construction. I am getting a washer and dryer here, and so that's all rough housed in, and they have to move the tools to put the washer and dryer in here. And then once I have that, I can show you another time. I have an entire back room that used to be a bedroom. That will be the, that's where I dry all the yarn. So I hope you enjoy my studio. I love it here. It's where I spend most of my days. And I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye, y'all. We're back. I hope you really enjoyed looking at my studio and seeing everything that there is. There is some sections of the studio that aren't done yet, so I didn't show you them. The drying room is in process right now. We are drying in it, and we do have some specially made equipment and drying racks back there. But it's just a small room with specially made drying racks in the middle of it. It's really not that exciting. And the second thing is that a washer and dryer are going into basically the hallway leading up to that room. And so it's all the plumbing is ripped out, and things are getting put in, so it's really not attractive, so I didn't show you that either. But that's, other than those two things, you saw the whole studio. It's super awesome, and I love it. I feel at home there and happy and very creative. So much more to come from Indie String in the future, and I hope you guys join us. If you do want to pop over to the shop, there is a new colorway. Hi, Jillian.
Hi, Mom.
What?
Ooh, Mommy. What
Yes.
are you doing?
I'm recording my podcast.
Ooh, that's cool.
It is cool. Do you want to stick your head in and say hello?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll try.
No. Okay. Can you say hi?
Hi.
What are you doing?
I'm saying hi.
You are. You're saying hi to everybody, right?
Hi.
Hi. Hi. Sorry for so many stops and starts this week. It's kind of crazy. I was talking about the new colorway on the site. It's called Glitter. It's a really nice pale gray color. I really like it, silvery, like glitter. I would tell you that I know a lot of gifts, as you guys all know, and probably my most requested color from gift recipients is gray. It's a really nice light gray colorway, and I find gray to be super unisex and universally acceptable. And so no matter what I knit out of gray, people pretty much like it. It's a safe bet, and sometimes when you're doing a gift, if you don't know them, a safe bet is the way to go. Because sometimes, I'm telling you what, color choices can be really tricky and chancy, and so I really like a lot of neutrals in my stash and to play with a lot of neutrals themselves. So that's what's going on in the shop. Thanks so much. Go check it out. See if you guys like it. Tell me what you think. And then that's it for this week, other than rants and raves. And other rants and raves, really, I don't have a lot. I'll put some pictures of our vacation. We went to Mount Rushmore. We went to a water park. We had a great time overall. It was wonderful, and I loved it. I loved going home and seeing everybody, and I miss Michigan quite a bit. I really love Michigan because I grew up in the UP, so I didn't grow up in the Detroit area. I grew up in the upper lower peninsula, so at the tip of the mitt, if you look at it on a map, and it's just a really nice place to live and grow up, and I really miss it. So it was great to spend so much time there and to be able to see everybody. And so the last announcement that I have of basically what's going on is that Jillian's starting school next week on Wednesday, and on Tuesday I'm starting a new job. So this is basically a new chapter of my life. We'll see. It kind of feels like I've started over several times in my career. I did banking, and then I did mortgages, and then I went to another governmental regulation kind of company. And from there, I'm going into a similar field, but it's using a lot of the same tools and knowledge, but I'm not doing the same thing. And so I'm kind of nervous. I'm excited. It's a good place to work, which is really what I was looking for. It means nothing about Indie String. I'll still podcast. We'll still have the store. We'll still doing updates and new colorways and nothing like that. But you know, life. Sometimes you have to be an adult, and while I'd love to stay home and just do Indie String all day, you know, I got a kid, I got to pay bills, so I'm going to go back to work. I am excited. I took a long time to look for a really good job at a place that would fit in with my life, and would become part of my life. And I think this is it. You know, you never know until you get somewhere, but I'm very excited about it, and hopefully it'll be good. So what does that really mean? For some things, when I am much more structured and I have like a list of things I have to do and I have a lot less time, I am more productive. I don't know why that is, but it is. So this show will be much more consistent because I'll have to schedule it in, and when it's scheduled, I'll have to do it instead of just being like, oh, when I get to it. Also, I'm not going to travel. I was gone weeks and weeks and weeks this year, and a lot of my inconsistency was due to how much travel that I actually took. I knew eventually I would go back to work, so kind of took the time to basically go where we wanted to do and have some experiences and some family time. And so the show will be more consistent because of that. In addition, you know, Indie String will continue on its path. It'll be more scheduled, and we'll do updates and some other things. We have lots of colorways that are in the works or ready to be released, and so I'm excited for fall. I'm excited for those harvesty colors and those golds and everything else, and I'll still be creating. I love Indie String. I love dyeing yarn. I love everything about it. And maybe one day I can just do that, but it's sadly not today. So we're just gonna keep on going forward. I'm sure I'll tell you I'll have some great new office stories, and hopefully everything going well. This company, the last company that I worked for, was relatively small. It was a husband and wife owned, but they didn't live there. They were kind of well, they lived there. I worked with them for a year, and then they moved. And so, in a way, absentee owners, they weren't there. And so it was run by one lady, and then there was about 12 employees by the time I left. They had other employees at their other location, but I didn't know them. So it was very small. And there's good things about that and drawbacks about that. The new company that I'm going to is big. It's got a few hundred employees. So I haven't been working in a large place with over, you know, 10 employees or 20 employees probably for 7 years. So it's been a really long time for me to be with a lot of people and really a big company. So I am excited. There's a lot of advantages to that, and I looked for a place that was like that, that was bigger, that had employee handbooks and systems in place and lots of policies and procedures and the ability to be trained and some other things. So I get to learn lots of new stuff, which I always really love and enjoy. And also, what does this mean for my knitting, right? Because I haven't been knitting a lot lately. Totally haven't been producing. Been total slacker. And it seems as though that I knit much more when I work. And that's basically because knitting is a stress reliever. And right now, when I don't work and I have a lot of time and I'm just kind of, you know, going along, I'm not very stressed out. I don't need to relax as much. And so I haven't been knitting as much, and I'm really looking forward to getting back at it and kind of getting more structure into my life again. So, as my husband would say, my first day is next week, and so is my daughter's. So it should be a big week for us. I'm excited to be able to tell you all about it next week, and hopefully, you know, I don't trip walking into the new office or mess up somebody's name or get egg in my face in some way. You never know. You know, sometimes stuff just goes bloop. And then I sound totally crazy. But most of the time I just sound crazy to you guys, and you're my people. So it's okay. But sometimes when I'm not with my people and I sound crazy, it's kind of rough. Socially awkward, My husband would like to tell me that I'm just me and I accept it and I just move on with it. And it's totally true. But it doesn't mean that everybody else accepts it, moves on with it. So yeah, I'm really nervous but excited. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week. Knit with some love, you guys. Bye, y'all.